Hey everybody, it's Mike from Profiling Evil, and I'm making my way to Box Elder County, Utah, and the First Judicial District Court in Brigham City, where James Brenner, the accused killer of Dylan Rounds, is set to plead guilty today. Candace, Dylan's mom, has invited me to come up and go through the back entrance with the family and sit in on this hearing today. I hope it goes through. I hope it happens, and that Brenner doesn't change his mind at the last minute and choose not to enter a plea today. And even with that plea, he still has a little time that he could withdraw the plea and start over if he wanted to. But the important part is he was smart enough to give up the location of Dylan's body. I've been out to the location where Dylan was recovered. I know the area quite well. You've seen in other video that I've had that I've flown it with a drone and extensively traveled it in my truck. It is incredibly vast. And as I said in one of my earliest videos on Dylan Rounds' missing case, that it was unlikely that his body would ever be recovered unless somebody stumbled across it, which was not likely, and or if someone, the killer in effect, were to give up the location, which is exactly what James Brenner did. Although the way that the negotiation was written up in giving up the body, Brenner didn't admit that he murdered Dylan, leaving the door open that maybe somebody else did it according to him, or a way for him to not utter the words that he took the young man's life. But regardless, this young man has been brought home. His family has his remains now. And hopefully today, as we get into the courtroom, James Brenner will plead guilty to the murder of Dylan Rounds, and Candace and her family can continue this process of closure. And I often say closure never really comes, and it's a goofy term, but for her, closure is continuing Dylan's legacy. And you can find more about Dylan's legacy on his website. You can also watch for Candace's influence in other criminal cases that come forward that are similar to this one in the months and years to come. She will be a real blessing in the lives of families that are going through a very similar situation. So I'll try to capture some imagery as we pull into the court, and we'll chat after it's over. I decided to take a little back road into the courthouse rather than travel down Main Street. In fact, if you look straight ahead, you should be able to see as we get to town. And a railroad crossing, according to Waze. But this just gives you an idea of how rural this area is. But now, this is a thriving metropolis compared to the place in which Dylan Rounds was murdered and where his body was disposed of. Well, hey folks, you can see that I'm now in the mountains. As soon as the hearing ended, Candace and I spoke for a few moments. I'm going to share that with you because it was really poignant. She was also interviewed by the media, and if the news story comes out, I'll include it with this report. But a couple of really important things happened in that hearing today. Number one, and most importantly to me, James Brenner admitted that he shot and killed Dylan Rounds, shooting him in the head. He admitted in open court that he was guilty of murder, and he's guilty of the murder of Dylan Rounds. That was huge. He also pled guilty to some weapons charges. The district attorney made it really clear that he's not as concerned with the sentence range, which is kind of a frightening range for most of us. It's 3 to 30 years. But because Brenner has had something similar to an aggravated assault or an attempted murder in his past, plus this murder, and many other violations, including these weapons violations, it is unlikely that he will ever leave prison. And so that is the really good news, that he will go to prison. In 3 years, he'll have his first opportunity for a parole hearing, but Candace and her family will be there and they will share their opinion. But let me tell you what, the Board of Pardons is not going to look favorably on this guy, and I don't believe that he's ever going to see freedom again. And that's really good news.
Dylan Round's mother says James Brenner is an evil person. Dylan was murdered 2 years ago in Lucin, Utah. His remains weren't discovered until last month. The family of 19-year-old Dylan Rounds makes their way to the courthouse, ready to hear the man who killed their son admit to doing it.
In that case, as to count 1 murder, a second-degree felony to that charge, how do you plead?
Guilty.
James Brenner's guilty plea is part of a plea agreement where he revealed the location of Dylan's remains.
And forensic analysis revealed bullet holes to Dylan's skull, which was the result of defendant shooting him in the head.
Is that what happened in this case?
Yes, sir.
Candace Cooley says her son moved to Lucin to pursue his dreams of being a farmer.
He would sit in his underwear out our big bay window and wait for his dad or grandpa to pick him up at 2 years old after he ate his oatmeal to go farm. Yeah, he was a good kid.
Since his disappearance, the family has relied heavily on community support and help from the Missing in America network.
It gets to us personally in a sense that we just want to help. We want to fix the problem. And so it's important that we have this strength together to help everyone.
Brenner's first-degree aggravated murder charge was dropped to second-degree murder because of the plea deal. He also pleaded guilty to 2 firearm felonies. He's looking at 3 to 30 years in prison.
And only 1 to 15 is for murdering Dylan. The rest is gun charges. So constituents of Utah, think about it and who you vote for, because these laws are made by our legislation, and if you want them changed, this could be your kid, and it could be a man serving more time for having the guns than for murdering your child with them.
That's something the Rounds Cooley family hopes to change through Dylan's Legacy, a nonprofit that they launched a few weeks ago to provide resources and support to families with other missing loved ones. As for Brenner, his sentencing is set for July 1st at 1:30. Reporting in Brigham City, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There weren't many people in the courtroom, and watching Brenner come into the room dressed in orange and going up to that podium, standing next to his attorney and pleading guilty had to have brought some satisfaction to the Rounds family. I hope it did. I know that Candace Cooley felt better about what had gone on and the fact that this thing is now resolved at this stage. Now, that doesn't mean it's over. There's going to be a lot of healing going on. But I want to share a few comments from Candace, and then I want to share something really exciting for those of you who are coming to CrimeCon. Candace and I are going to be doing a session together talking about the ethics of these kinds of investigations and what the creator community can do for good, or the ways in which they can really do things poorly, like they did in this case in many instances. Okay, folks, I'm here with Candace Cooley. We just walked out of the hearing where James Brenner pled guilty to murdering your son Dylan. Emotional day for you.
Yes.
And yet an important day. It's going to be July 1st when this thing actually gets to sentencing.
Correct.
But I think the one thing that really came out powerfully to me during today was that this guy is going to die in prison.
Yes, he is.
Candace, you and I are going to be at CrimeCon in a few weeks talking about the importance and ethics within this true crime community, some of the challenges that you faced and other families face.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that you get criticized. Your missing loved ones, it's like they're taunted for being missing. A lot of people think they're doing good by creating YouTubes, and it can be detrimental to cases, and people, it's almost like they get a kick out of it and think they're helping, and it's not helping. It's terrible, and we need to get a grip on it, and people need to be respectful.
So as we talked, I think the thing we came up with for this presentation, And folks, many of you have wondered why I haven't had much to say about Dillon rounds. I think maybe because I maybe knew too much.
Yes, that is why.
And there is an ethical responsibility that people have, not only based on my career, but based on just human decency.
Yeah.
And we're going to title this Ethics in True Crime, Putting People Ahead of Subscribers.
Yes, I think that is perfectly worded, Mike. It doesn't get any better than that. And we'll put forth some examples of stuff that I saved in Dillon's case that we can put out there and use as an example, different phone calls, emails, messages that will make people understand how detrimental it truly can be.
Well, you absolutely amaze me. DillonRoundsLegacy.org is up and running.
Yes.
And it's a place where we want you all to go. We'll be pushing there, and Candace will take something ugly and horrible and turn it into something beneficial by continuing Dillon's legacy of trying to help other families who go through other kinds of ugliness like this.
Yes.
So you're going to have a booth at CrimeCon?
Yes, Missing American and Dillon's Legacy will have a booth together.
Awesome. I know that they've told me I have a booth, so I got to sit at the table for a while. So both Candace and I will be there. We'll look forward to getting your pictures and socializing with you. And we want you to make sure that on June 2nd, Sunday, you attend our podcast and watch it live. And I'm sure you'll have a chance to meet a lot of fun people. So, Candace, I love you. I'm so sorry.
Yes, I'm glad you came.
Oh, heavens. wouldn't have missed it when you called.
Positive awareness is the key.
Yeah, well, God bless you and bless your family. And it was nice to talk to your ex-husband for a few moments, too. Everybody's aching, but good's going to come out of this.
Yes,
so,
I agree.
Thanks. So there you go, folks. I'll get more information as it comes available, but like I said in there, I haven't shared a whole lot about this case because I think I've known enough that it wouldn't have been right. And I hope you all understand that, because these cases are more important than the crime community and sharing this publicly. It has to come out in the right way, and I think it did in this particular case. Were there problems? Absolutely. Were there shortcomings? Absolutely. Could it have gone better? Absolutely, because Dillon could still be alive if that predator wasn't free at that particular time, but he's not going to be free anymore. Hey, thanks for your support of Profiling Evil. Please make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you like audio podcasts, make sure you're subscribing to Profiling Evil audio podcasts on your favorite podcast platform. Hey, folks, I've been asking for donations. If you'd like to throw one our way, we'd appreciate it. $20, I'll send you a free gift pack. It'll include 4 cork coasters that you can use for putting your drinks on. It'll have 4 Profiling Evil stickers and a Profiling Evil pen, and I'll ship it anywhere in the United States for free if you send a $20 donation in. You can see the link up here with the QR code, or you can go down into the description area to send in your donation. It's really appreciated. It helps us do things. It helps us provide support. It helps us do things like give law enforcement money for training, or to pay for this Children's Justice Center, the little amount that we're paying, which I think is pretty darn substantial, or to help families that need it. So, thanks for your support of Profiling Evil. We'll see you soon at the next crime scene.